serving his 6th term in the United States House of Representatives. Our next speaker boldly stands on America's founding principles and is widely known and respected for his innovative problem solving, solidly based on constitutional fundamentals. Imagine that. Among his many responsibilities is serving as the vice chair of the Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, and Homeland Security. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Texas, please welcome Army veteran, judge, deacon, Sunday school teacher, husband, father, and U.S. Congressman, Representative Louie Gohmert.
Wow. It's so good to be here with you today. Comparatively. I just left our Republican House conference. And so I will say again, it's really good to be with you guys. So there was a movie called Broadcast News. And at one point, the lady that's trying to get the network to do the right thing, the big shot says, she's telling them passionately, this is what's going to happen, don't do that. And he says, it must be wonderful to always be right. And she tears up and says, no, it's terrible. We're in some trouble. You know that? We're in big trouble. Going back to 2006, or last year in the minority. Why? Because the first of the year we had a new majority leader, along with our vibrant speaker, Hester. And they made a decision. This was my freshman term. And they said, look, we know we were going to do massive changes, throw out the tax code, do something different there, shore up Social Security so it's there for generations to come. But now we understand there's a little chance we might lose the majority next November. This is 06. So we changed our strategy. We're just going to try to get by this year, not do anything big that rankles anybody, and then keep the majority in November, and then we'll come back and do tax reform, show up Social Security, and all that good stuff. And I'm a freshman, but I can see where this is going, and it isn't good. And I stood up and said, I had to wait till my turn. If you really think there is any chance of us losing the majority in November, this has to be the year that we do the big things we promised. You can't wait on those. You don't want to get to November, lose in November, and then January say, wow, I guess we should have done the big stuff last year because now we're in the minority. Well, that was a minority position because it is always easier to do the easy thing. Now, that sounds like a no-brainer, but when you look at the kind of people running for president, no-brainers are a good thing now. And I do want to warn, since most people here are Christians, and I'm serious about this, a true believer does what Jesus did and still does, but you don't make fun of people who are impaired, have special needs, and whether you like her or not, Hillary Clinton has made clear she is mentally impaired. And this is not somebody you should be making fun of. Now, so I get the impression that in law school and along the way she's been very, very smart. But I don't know, maybe it was the concussion, the fall back when she did. Or maybe, who knows? You know, they won't tell us what really is going on with her. But if I were going to smash cell phones, Blackberries, I'd use a 2-pound sledge. I think that's the most. Well, who knows? Maybe somebody got to wailing around and hit her again. I don't know. But we need to be praying for Hillary Clinton. There's special needs there. There's mental impairment. And, I mean, seriously, she can't remember. And I made the mistake. I got that stupid song in my head that Rush Limbaugh used to play, and it was to the tune, Try to Remember. And it's Hillary Clinton say, I don't remember, my brain's in a blender. And so anyway, earlier this week, when I was on Fox and Friends, that stupid line came back, and so it ends up being a headline, you know, that I said Hillary's brain is in a blender. But anyway, but that was not a proper thing to say because, again, I'm making fun of the mentally impaired, and that's not right. So going back to 2007, we lost the majority. And the new majority, Democrats, were pushing something called hate crimes. And I could see as clearly as I can see you where this was going. And we were told, no, this will never affect churches, it'll never affect Christians. I'm going, you know, because Christianity, we know, is a religion of love, unlike any other religion. You know, and Jesus himself said, greater love than no one than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, and that's what he did. And yet, after all the belittling I've gotten, and going back then, oh, you want to stand in the way of hate crimes? This will stop all this hatefulness. No, it's going to be used against Christians. Let's stop it now. And Republicans going, Louie, you're really overreacting. No, I could see where this was going. And I could see it back then, and I've said all along. Eventually, though, Christianity is the one religion totally based on love. Someday, people will say, yeah, well, you believe if everybody doesn't think just like you think, then they're going to hell. That's hateful. No, it's loving to care enough about people that you don't want bad things to happen. You don't want at the end of someone's life on this earth something bad to happen. That's loving, it's caring. Okay, so that was 9 years ago. Today, this article by Mark Kellner, the chairman of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights said that, quote, religious freedom, unquote, and, quote, religious liberty, unquote, have become merely, quote, code words, unquote, for intolerance. Quote, Christian supremacy, unquote, and committing every form of identity politics sin, and thus they must yield before anti-discrimination laws. They're saying that Christians, it's okay if you never talk about Christianity, which means obviously you're not a Christian, but we're now, it's official, the head of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights thinks practicing Christians are hateful and intolerant. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father but by me. I didn't say that, but I know that to my core. And since I do love even people that hate my guts, which really throws people off, they go, you totally disagree with me. I totally hate people that disagree with me. You can't tell me you don't hate me. They don't understand. You can love people who disagree with you, but they don't get that. And Scripture would say that's because they're natural men and women. Anyway, that article today, it's official. So I just want to remind you very quickly here, a document we refer to as the Bill of Rights. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Our religious freedom is what that's embracing. There is, and please note, there is nothing there that says you have a freedom from religion. That's not a right. If you have a total freedom from religion, then you can shut every other person up, and our Constitution doesn't allow it. It says there will be no laws like that respecting an establishment of religion. Supreme Court has said secular humanism is a religion, and now they've established it. Then, or abridging the freedom of speech. Hillary Clinton, the UN, the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, they all are now totally advocates for taking away your freedom of speech and allowing that part of the Muslim Brotherhood plan for the future to check the box, because once you cannot say anything negative about radical Islam, then their goal of subjugating the U.S. Constitution to Sharia law gets a check in that box. Your religious freedom will be gone. Your freedom of speech will be gone. Freedom of the press, well, that's not officially gone. It's just if you express truth in the press, the rest of the press makes fun of you. The right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That will be gone. You can't assemble and make plans as Christians, even in a home church, because you're talking about something that's hateful according to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. Second Amendment, that right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You can just kiss that one goodbye. And all of these little things. Let's go after assault weapons. Every weapon is an assault weapon. A pressure cooker is an assault weapon. A box cutter is an assault weapon. It's all about the hand in which that is located. That is the assault weapon. The person. Now, I think we'll be okay on the Third Amendment for a while about not having troops quartered in our home, but eventually that'll have to go away. But anyway, the Fourth Amendment, the right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, and paper and effects, that's already in jeopardy because you're not secure in that anymore. Why? Because despite liberals saying some years back, we don't want the government in our bedroom, now they have been advocating successfully. They want the government not only in your bedroom, your bathroom, your kitchen. They want the government all in your house, and they're there now. The Fifth Amendment, those things go away. Now, most of y'all know I traveled all over the country speaking for and with my friend Ted Cruz. And there are people that are pushing for of an opponent for Ted in his 2 years from now in the primary. But I'm concerned about November. And everyone who has any concern at all for freedom needs to understand. If Hillary Clinton replaces my friend Justice Antonin Scalia, those rights I was just reading to you are gone. They are a memory. They will not go forward in the future. They're over. There is no choice in this matter right now. And if you vote for a third party, it's like people when we were trying to get them to vote for anybody but Boehner a year and a half ago. If you vote present or you don't vote or you vote third party, you're voting for Hillary. You're making it easier for her to win. So And if you want to look about what the future would hold with a President Clinton, look at last time we had President Clinton. We gave North Korea the ability to have nuclear weapons, and we said, all we need you to do, North Korea, is just sign saying, if we give you everything you need to make nuclear weapons under the guise of making nuclear power, you sign here, you agree, you won't use it for nuclear weapons. Really? You'll give me everything I need, all I got to do is sign? Well, yeah, where you want me to, I'll sign that. And then the same people get involved in this past administration. And we know now the negotiations with Iran were going on under Secretary Clinton. And she probably doesn't remember, and I give her that. But there is more of the same coming, ladies and gentlemen. And unless you want an end to your freedom of worship, your freedom of speech, your freedom to assemble in a church, you better make sure the Republican gets elected. That's all it is. We have no other choice. There is no other choice. Now, I have no doubt, just as I butted heads with a guy that I love, and he's smarter than everybody gives him credit, than most people in the media, one of the wittiest guys you could ever carry on a conversation with, George W. Bush. But we butted heads. No Child Left Behind, Wall Street bailout. There were a number of massive problems. I have no doubt if we have President Trump, as I'm hoping and praying, I'm going to be bumping heads a bunch. I understand that. But if you want, as a Christian, to continue in what made America great, you need to make sure that the Republican nominee gets elected. We have no choice. So, Ronald Reagan finished his impromptu speech in 1976. It felt like 1776. Ford, some felt like he may have stolen the nomination from him, but go back and look at his speech. Reagan had said over and over, I'm not speaking at the convention. They had done him wrong. He wasn't going to speak. Ford at the podium puts him on the spot. Would you help me encourage my friend Ron Reagan to come down and say a few words? He knew Reagan wouldn't refuse him then, so he came down. Look at what he said, totally impromptu, because he was not going to speak. He was very gracious. He talked about their platform. He talked about the tough decisions. He thanked Ford for how nice he had been treating Nancy. Didn't mention how unpleasantly he had treated him, but he ends his speech by using a word, united. And then he said, as a great general once said, there's no substitute for victory. We got to be united, and we have got to win in November. That's it. No other choice.